Welcome to Being at Home with George. Excited to be here. And I like to begin the way we always begin by creating the possibility of being able to say yes, to embrace whatever comes up, and at the same time, generate the hope. And this being the holiday season, and just reflecting on the experience I had yesterday, where I realized that even though we talk a lot about this idea of creating space between stimulus and response, there are situations, and normally I find those situations having to do with not having enough time, being in a hurry, or just dealing with difficult situations that are just really frustrating and difficult. They're just difficult. And so, even though we talk about creating space between stimulus and response, it sounds simple, but not so easy to do. So, I wanted to talk about my experience of going through that and realizing that I found myself in a hurricane. I don't know how I got out of the eye, but I was in a hurricane before I knew it. And then I was reacting to things, and so reflecting on it and asking myself, if I had it to do over again, what would I do differently? And the first thing I would do was I wouldn't make assumptions about whether or not the person can see what I'm seeing and be able to relate to things as I see them, would make assumptions. And number two, I wouldn't take things personally when they are reacting to my reactivity. And the third thing I would do is I would not forget to breathe. I would just stop and pause and just breathe and just be willing, which is really challenging to do when there's a time crunch, to just really realize you can take 2 or 3 seconds or 4 seconds to just breathe and just pause and then get into this calm, get back into the eye of the hurricane, and then be able to speak our truth to say what we want. So that's the lesson here. The lesson here is for me is to be able to know I can not take things personally. I don't make assumptions and don't forget to breathe, and to realize I am going to get triggered. No matter how my good intentions are, I'm going to find myself reacting, especially with family and friends or with just working with people in the service industry. So the idea is, how can we do this? And so this is my thing that I believe we all could try. We could actually call it the holiday pause and just recognize that when we get triggered, we can stop and pause, and we can remember the 3 steps. Don't take things personally, don't make assumptions, and don't forget to breathe.